And our next speaker, Tom SPERRY, the Business Development Director for Exit Games, represents a company that has been, well, geez, for at least 5 or 6 years that I know of, working very, very hard to create a technological basis for developers, on which developers could build better multiplayer experiences and better multiplayer global experiences with Photon. And so with that, I'd like to turn this over to Tom to tell you a little bit more about what Exit Games is doing.
Great, thank you very much. My name is Tom SPERRY, and I run business development for Exit Games. I'm out of the US, and our headquarters is in Hamburg, Germany. So today I'll talk about Photon, which is our real-time cross-platform multiplayer network engine. And then I'll do a little case study about a partner of ours, or a customer of ours, Glu Mobile, who decided to use Photon when they wanted to launch their upcoming titles internationally. So quickly, Photon, we launched Photon Server in 2009. We launched Photon Cloud, and I'll go into both of these more in depth in a little bit, in 2011. We really focus on, and only focus on real-time and cross-platform. The networking layer, we support a wide variety of SDKs, and as of today, we've got over 30,000 registered developers and about 1,500 signing up a month. And because of Photon Cloud, that's grown exponentially. Photon Server, it's a dedicated on-prem solution, so the game developer downloads it, hosts it in its own data center or in a third-party data center partner, used primarily by tier 1 developers who are creating large MMOs, so you can write your own server-side code. Again, we support a wide variety of client-side SDKs. I'd say today, 75% of our customers are using Unity 3D, actually. But the most exciting thing that we've done is launch Photon Cloud, which is a cloud-based solution that we manage for the game developer publisher. Same client-side SDKs are available. The key difference there, though, is that we don't allow for custom server-side code because we have to manage, and we're managing the servers. Not that we don't trust game developers and what they're writing, but since we are responsible for the SLAs and the uptime, we just give out-of-the-box features that game developers and publishers can use. But with the launch of Cloud, the number of developers and the number of games going live has grown exponentially. Most recently, we've partnered with GMO Cloud, and this is relatively new news, and they are based out of Tokyo, and they are our partner for launching games in Japan, and we're starting to see a lot of excitement there. So we have new servers live in Tokyo today. We've got servers in Singapore, in Europe, and in the US. And GMO Cloud is helping us launch other servers throughout Southeast Asia. We're not live yet in China. Excuse me. We do have a partner there, but it's taking some time to go live. But we're thinking that could happen in Q3. So Photon Cloud compared to other social SDKs, again, we're super focused on the real-time networking piece, and we're happy to partner with or allow the game developer and publisher to leverage their own social graph. And I'll go into more in the case study that I have. But so we don't do leaderboards, we don't do challenges or achievements or anything like that, because we've found over time our older product, which was called Neutron, had all of those, and we found that game developers and publishers never wanted it. They just wanted the networking piece, and because they had their own. And so we've decided to stay very lean and very focused, and it's actually been quite successful for us. We've got a ton of well-known enterprise customers, everyone from Microsoft to 2K to 20th Century Fox and Warner Brothers, and they're doing everything from cross-platform mobile to large MMOs, whether it's on Facebook or standalone. Again, but we're seeing a ton of growth in the indie space and with over 30,000 developers. We're complete Microsoft backend. That's been so if you're using Photon Server, we don't support Linux yet today. That's been somewhat of an issue as we've grown in China. We're looking to port that, but we found that Windows Server is much more reliable, and the total cost of ownership over time has been better for us being a Microsoft shop. So the key difference between some other network providers out there that we're big proponents of cross-platform. We've got real-time UDP support, which our competitors don't, and we support all the different mobile devices out there for true cross-platform gaming. So, excuse me. So the Glu mobile case study. So Glu came to us and said, every new title we're going to do is going to be real-time, and it's going to be cross-platform. We've got our own internal tech, and we're using the social SDK by GameSpy. What can you do for us? So the biggest problem that, and we want to launch all of our titles simultaneously around the world. So the biggest issue that they were facing is that they didn't want to use their old tech. GameSpy was being sold, so Glu had to figure out whether or not they wanted to buy them or scrap all their social SDKs for all their upcoming games. And how are they going to launch these titles at the same time in different regions with different players playing at in different time zones and different languages, etc. So they came to us and said, Exit Games, will you help us architect it? We want to use you. We're going to look at acquiring GameSpy, which they ended up acquiring GameSpy so they would solve that social SDK problem. And we want to use Photon Cloud and not Photon Server because we don't want to manage it. How are you going to help us go live around the world? And so at the time, we didn't have servers in Japan. We didn't have servers in Singapore. We were just ramping up servers in the US and Europe. So they helped, and together they helped push us to become much more global. So here's the architecture that we came up with for them. If you look at the left-hand side, the lobby server piece, that's really the GameSpy piece that we would end up integrating with. And so you log in through, regardless of the client, you'd connect to the lobby server, and then that would then point you to the different game servers which we called Photon Master Server, which we then hosted in different regions. At the end of the day, we decided to force game players to choose the region that they were in, because it's very difficult to find if you're playing a game in Tokyo. On your mobile, the fact that somebody would be up and in the U.S. and playing at the same time was pretty rare. Plus, Glu was very demanding on latency and having this, since these titles are real-time, they wanted a real-time interaction because they're racing games and fighting games and things like that. So, so at the end of the day, we forced, every time you would log in, you'd have to choose the region you were in, and then we would push you to those specific areas. So and we decided also to give Glu what we're calling private cloud. So we have a public cloud and a private cloud. Public cloud is any developer today who signs up to use Photon Cloud. It's a shared server environment. For larger publishers, they want their own specific cloud environment where their games are all run on the same server and no one else's games are run, but we still manage that. So we offer both, either public or private. So Glu, because they're so big and didn't want to risk their games being affected by other folks, decided to go with the private cloud environment. As I said, each region has a lobby server and specific game servers. They have specific URLs that the client side would call. The regions are not connected with each other, so today, if I choose the Japanese region, I'm only playing with folks in Japan. That will change over time as more folks are playing in more regions, but because real-time multiplayer gaming in specific regions is so new, we've decided to be very strict on where people can sign up and then who they can play with. So at the end of the day, Photon Cloud and the focus of Photon Cloud is having, with different servers in different parts of the world, making sure we have low latency for game developers based on where they're playing today. We allow for game developers and publishers to have different types of servers, whether it's hybrid and elastic, and also whether they want to choose public or private clouds. I'll quickly run, I can save the questions for a second. I'll just quickly run through some titles that are using us today. Offensive Combat, which is a Unity-based title, which is a large MMO by Activision guys, is I think it's in beta now or it's live. Formula One Online is also a Unity MMO. This is the Uber Strike by Simune, which is one of the largest first-person shooters on Facebook, also built in Unity. Family Guy Online is a large MMO that's live, Unity as well. Cartuga, which is a ship fighting game, it's in Flash. World Golf Tour, which is the largest massively multiplayer golf game with over 1 million active users daily playing golf around the world. King's Bounty. 12 Tales, which is a big Thai studio. I think it's got about 700,000 daily actives. And this is Counter-Strike. It's actually Counter-Strike Mobile, or they're calling it CS Portable, but it's built in Unity as well. It's a first-person shooter. Sketch with Friends is actually it's actually a Kindle game built in Flash and Android. And it's I think it's the #1 title on the Kindle. It's pretty fun. It's basically a clone, as you guys know. So anyway, that's who we are. That's it. So does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Tom. Questions about Photon? Cross-platform multiplayer? Apparently they're already got it all handled.
They're using it.
Thank you very much for coming out today, Tom, and telling us more about Photon. Let's give Tom a big hand.